Diplomatic breakdown. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Conclave station, her dark eyes reflecting the countless stars beyond the crystalline viewport. The massive space station orbited a neutral star at the galaxy's core, designed as a meeting ground for the 37 spacefaring civilizations. For humans, the youngest members of this cosmic community, today mark their 5th appeal for full membership status. "Captain, they're ready for us," said Commander Takashi Hamada, her second-in-command. His usually calm demeanor betrayed tension around his eyes. Elena nodded, smoothing down her midnight blue uniform adorned with Earth's insignia, a stylized globe surrounded by olive branches. "Let's hope the 5th time's the charm." The human delegation followed her through the arching corridors of the station. Crystalline walls shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, the conclave's method of displaying information. Elena had learned to read these patterns over her years as Earth's representative, and what she saw now made her frown. The patterns pulsed with agitation, concern, and something else, determination. The grand chamber doors parted silently. Within the vast circular room, representatives from across the galaxy sat at tiered platforms. Some floated in specialized environmental bubbles, others stood on multiple limbs, and a few existed as shimmering energy patterns contained in mechanical shells. The diversity was breathtaking, even for Elena, who had spent years among alien species. At the center sat the conclave's High Arbiter, Hexor-Lath of the Volhari Dominion, a tall, avian being with iridescent feathers and penetrating golden eyes. The Volhari had been among the founding members of the conclave 10,000 years ago, and their influence shaped galactic politics. Representative Reyes. Hexor-Lath's voice resonated through the chamber via the universal translator. "Earth's petition for full membership has been reviewed." Elena stepped forward, maintaining the precise distance protocol demanded. "High Arbiter, the United Earth government appreciates the conclave's consideration. We have followed every guideline, contributed technology and resources, and maintained peace within our sector for the past decade." Murmurs rippled through the assembly, some supportive, others distinctly not. "Your contributions are noted," Hexor-Lath replied, feathers shifting in what Elena recognized as discomfort. "However, the conclave has concerns about humanity's rapid advancement." A representative from the silicon-based Karen Collective rose from their platform. "In just 1 century, humans have progressed from primitive combustion engines to quantum-fold technology. Such acceleration is unprecedented and disturbing." "We learned and adapted," Elena countered. "Our progress comes from cooperation and exchange with established members. Yet you improve upon technologies at rates that alarm their original developers," said Kevoth, the gelatinous representative of the Mindari Federation. "The quantum communicator you improved now operates 300% more efficiently than our original design." Elena fought to keep her expression neutral. "Isn't innovation the purpose of technological exchange?" Hexor-Lath raised a feathered appendage for silence. "The conclave has reached a decision. Earth will remain an associate member, with additional restrictions." The central holographic display illuminated with a list of new conditions. Elena read them with growing disbelief. "These aren't restrictions, they're demands for subjugation," she said, unable to hide her shock. "You want control of our military, oversight of our research facilities, limits on our colonial expansion, and authority over our resource allocation. They are necessary precautions," Hexor-Lath stated. "Humanity's pattern of development suggests potential for destabilization. These measures ensure galactic harmony." Commander Hamada leaned close to Elena's ear. "This is worse than we anticipated." Elena squared her shoulders. "High Arbiter, these terms are unacceptable. They violate the conclave's own Charter of Sovereign Rights." "The Charter applies to full members," responded Hexor-Lath coldly. "Earth remains an associate, subject to protective oversight." "Protective?" Elena's voice sharpened. "You call technological appropriation and military suppression protective?" Another representative, a crystalline being from the Axoni systems, spoke. "Humans fail to understand their place. Your species emerged from planetary warfare merely a century ago. The galaxy requires assurance you won't bring that violence to the stars. Elena felt heat rising to her face, but maintained her diplomatic composure. Earth respectfully rejects these terms. We request standard associate status without additional restrictions. That is not an option, Xorlath declared. The terms are non-negotiable. You have 30 Earth days to begin implementation. Elena looked around the chamber, seeking allies. A few representatives avoided her gaze, suggesting discomfort with the proceedings, but none spoke in humanity's defense. Then, with profound regret, Elena said formally, I must inform the conclave that Earth will need to reconsider its position within this assembly. Gasps and murmurs echoed through the chamber. A withdrawal would be unfortunate, Xorlath said, but the terms remain. Elena nodded stiffly. We will convey the conclave's decision to Earth. Good day, High Arbiter. As the human delegation exited the chamber, Commander Hamada whispered, They've made their move. What's ours? Elena's expression hardened. Operation Silent Thunder. The Council prepared for this possibility. Within hours, the news rippled across human space. Emergency protocols activated at every colony and outpost. On Earth, the Security Council convened in an underground facility beneath the Himalayas. Admiral Wei Chen, head of Earth's defense forces, addressed the grim-faced council members. The Volheri and their allies have shown their hand. They fear our advancement and seek to control it. Options? Asked the council president. Conventional resistance would be suicide, Admiral Chen replied. The combined fleets of the conclave outnumber us 50 to 1. Then we surrender? A counselor asked incredulously. No, Elena said, joining the discussion via quantum link from her ship. We disappear. Operation Silent Thunder, Admiral Chen confirmed, activating a holographic display showing human territory across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. We've prepared for this contingency for years. The plan unfolded with remarkable precision. Within 2 weeks, human colonies began reporting equipment malfunctions in their conclave communication arrays. Diplomatic messages became garbled, then ceased entirely. Trade ships reported navigation errors and withdrew from established routes. On the conclave station, Representative Xorlath summoned Elena for explanation. Technical difficulties, she offered with an apologetic smile. Our systems seem incompatible with recent conclave protocols. Your colonies are going dark, Captain Reyes, Xorlath said accusingly. This appears coordinated. I assure you, we're working to resolve these issues, Elena replied. Perhaps if the conclave relaxed its recent restrictions. Impossible, Xorlath stated. 3 days later, Elena and all human personnel departed the conclave station, citing urgent maintenance requirements. Within a month, human presence throughout the galaxy had diminished to near nothing. Colonies appeared abandoned when conclave inspection teams arrived. Mining operations ceased. Trading posts stood empty. The Volheri and their allies claimed victory. Humans had clearly retreated to their home system, intimidated by superior power. But some representatives harbored doubts. They disappeared too efficiently, noted Kavoth of the Mindari. No chaos, no refugee crisis, no abandoned assets of value. They're primitive and predictable. Xorlath dismissed. They recognized our dominance and retreated. But as months passed, strange reports emerged from the fringes of known space. Unusual energy signatures. Unidentified vessels that appeared and vanished from sensors. Mining operations where no official colonies existed. They're hiding something, Kavoth insisted as the conclave leadership met in private session. Let them hide, Xorlath declared. When they emerge, they will find the terms have not changed. 6 months after humanity's apparent withdrawal, the Volheri Dominion dispatched colonization fleets to former human mining worlds rich in rare elements. Their warships entered the Proxima Centauri system, expecting abandoned facilities ripe for claiming. Instead, they found silence. And then, terror. The reckoning. Admiral Zevrax of the Volhari Dominion stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Sovereign Will, as it led a colonization fleet into the Proxima Centauri system. The system had once hosted a significant human mining operation before their mysterious withdrawal 6 months ago. "Status report," he commanded, his feathers rippling in anticipation of an easy acquisition. "System appears abandoned as intelligence suggested," his second replied. "Minimal energy signatures at the former human outpost on the 4th planet." "Excellent. Prepare landing parties." The Admiral's order was interrupted as warning signals blared across the command deck. "Energy spike," shouted the sensor officer. Massive readings appearing throughout the system. The main view screen flickered to life, showing dozens, no, hundreds, of objects decloaking around the Volhari fleet. They weren't ships in any conventional sense. Sleek, asymmetrical, with no visible propulsion systems, they moved with impossible grace. "Hail them," Zevrax ordered, his voice tight. Before his communications officer could comply, every screen on the Volhari vessels activated simultaneously. The face that appeared belonged to Captain Alina Reyes, though changed. Her hair was shorter, her expression harder, her eyes reflecting resolve tempered by trials. "Admiral Zevrax," Alina said calmly, "you've entered sovereign human territory. You have 30 minutes to withdraw your forces." The Admiral's crest rose in indignation. This system was abandoned. "The Conclave has reassigned mining rights to the Volhari Dominion." Alina's smile held no warmth. "We never abandoned anything, Admiral. We simply evolved our approach." As if to emphasize her point, one of the strange human vessels moved closer to the flagship. Sensors struggled to analyze its composition. "You've been misinformed about humanity's status," Alina continued. "Allow me to update you. We no longer seek Conclave membership. We've established the Human Accord, an independent coalition of systems operating beyond Conclave jurisdiction." "Preposterous," Zevrax scoffed. "You have no authority." "We have exactly as much authority as we can enforce," Alina interrupted. 25 minutes remaining. "Admiral." Throughout the exchange, Volhari analysts desperately tried to understand what they were seeing. The human vessels exhibited technology far beyond anything Earth had previously demonstrated. Their hulls seemed to phase between solid matter and energy states. Their movements defied conventional physics. "This is impossible," the Volhari science officer whispered. "They couldn't have developed such technologies in 6 months." But they had. While the Conclave believed humans had retreated in defeat, Operation Silent Thunder had initiated the most ambitious technological leap in human history. Freed from Conclave restrictions and oversight, research facilities throughout human space had implemented innovations previously considered too radical or dangerous. Quantum phase technology allowed ships to exist partially in subspace, rendering them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. Neural interface systems enabled crews to operate vessels through thought alone, eliminating delays in reaction time. Self-replicating nanomaterials constructed vessels and infrastructure at unprecedented rates. Admiral Zevrax realized the gravity of his situation. His fleet, once considered overwhelmingly powerful, was hopelessly outmatched. "The Conclave will not tolerate this insurrection," he declared, though his voice lacked conviction. "The Conclave is welcome to its opinion," Alina replied. 15 minutes, Admiral." Messages flew across subspace to the Conclave headquarters. The response was immediate. The High Arbiter himself dispatched the largest military force assembled in a millennium toward Proxima Centauri. But by the time they arrived 3 days later, the Volhari colonization fleet had withdrawn, and the human forces had vanished again. What they found instead was a small automated beacon broadcasting on all frequencies. It contained a simple message. "To the Galactic Conclave, humanity extends greetings as an independent power. We have established the Human Accord across 57 systems. We seek neither conflict nor dominance, only recognition of our sovereignty. Representatives may contact us through the enclosed protocols if diplomatic relations are desired." Attached was data detailing humanity's new territorial claims, systems previously considered uninhabitable or worthless that humans had somehow transformed into thriving colonies during their 6-month disappearance. The conclave leadership gathered in emergency session. High Arbiter Xorlath's feathers lay flat against his body, a sign of extreme distress in Volhari physiology. How did they achieve this? Demanded a representative from the Terran Collective. Their technology has leaped centuries ahead. They hid their true capabilities, suggested another. Kavoth of the Mindari Federation rippled anxiously. No, we forced them underground, where desperation accelerated their innovation. Without conclave restrictions, they implemented technologies we deemed too unstable or unpredictable. And now, asked a representative from a fringe system. Xorlath had no immediate answer. The balance of power had shifted dramatically. Reports indicated human vessels could appear anywhere, anytime, without warning. Conventional defenses proved useless against their phase technology. The Conclave's military advantage had evaporated. 3 days later, a human vessel decloaked directly alongside the Conclave station, an unprecedented breach of security that sent ripples of fear throughout the assembly. Captain Alina Reyes requested permission to address the Conclave, which was hastily granted. She entered the Grand Chamber alone, without guards or escort. Her uniform was different now, charcoal gray with silver accents, bearing the emblem of the human accord, a phoenix rising from Earth, wings spread across stars. High Arbiter, representatives, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the silent chamber. I come to establish diplomatic relations between the human accord and the Galactic Conclave. Your actions constitute rebellion against established order, Xorlath stated, though his voice lacked its former authority. On the contrary, Alina replied calmly, we've simply claimed our rightful place among the stars, as every species here has done. Operation Silent Thunder was our response to attempted subjugation, not an act of aggression, but one of self-preservation. She activated a holographic display showing the extent of human territory. Systems transformed through technologies the Conclave had dismissed as theoretical. Terraform accelerators have made inhospitable worlds livable. Quantum fold manufacturing has built infrastructure in weeks instead of years. Neural network governance has optimized resource allocation beyond conventional models. The representatives watched in stunned silence as Elena detailed achievements that many had considered impossible or centuries away. We offer peace and cooperation, she continued, but we will not accept oversight or restrictions that impede our development. The human accord stands ready to engage as equals, not supplicants. The chamber erupted in voices, some outrage, others calculating, a few genuinely impressed. Through the commotion, Kavoth of the Mindari approached Alina. You planned this from the beginning. The gelatinous being observed. The submission, the apparent retreat, all calculated. Alina smiled slightly. Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. You gave us necessity in abundance. After hours of debate, a preliminary agreement emerged. The Conclave would recognize the human accord as an independent power. Joint research initiatives would be established with appropriate safeguards. A new framework for interspecies relations would be developed, one based on mutual respect rather than age or technological advantage. As Elena prepared to depart, Xorlath approached her privately. Your species is either brilliantly adaptable or terrifyingly unpredictable, the High Arbiter said. Perhaps both. We're simply human, Elena replied. We faced extinction many times on our homeworld before reaching the stars. Adaptation isn't just our strength, it's how we survived. And if the Conclave had welcomed you as equals from the beginning. Elena considered this. History takes the path it takes, High Arbiter. But perhaps the lesson is that fear of the unknown drives greater dangers than acceptance ever could. As her vessel departed the station, messages streamed between human outposts across the galaxy. Operation Silent Thunder had achieved its objective, not dominance, but recognition. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through millennia of gradual development, but through the crucible of necessity. In the void between worlds, Captain Alina Reyes gazed at the stars spreading before her vessel. For the first time in human history, they shone not with the light of mystery or danger, but with the promise of a future where humanity stood tall among the ancient civilizations of the galaxy, not as children to be guided, but as equals to be respected. The response that had terrified the galaxy wasn't humanity's weapons or technology. It was their fundamental nature, the indomitable will to survive, adapt, and thrive against all odds.